Hello, hello, welcome in everybody. So today we're going to be doing a reading, a feel-good reading. So there's always lots of different things going on in our life that are challenging. Highs, lows, all sorts of different things. Sometimes we need to just have a reading that isn't going to get us to do more work, right? More complicated things or overcomplicate things or think about more stuff. Sometimes we just need to sit in appreciation and gratitude, and I feel like this is where this reading's going to come from. So we'll begin by, as always, getting 3 piles. It's very dark today outside, so it's not a lot of light. Okay. So let's begin. So for your feel-good reading for part 1, you have the Ascended Master, Babaji, and Diamond with So It Shall Be. For pile number 2, you have Angel Lahabiel and Black Tourmaline with Purification. And for pile number 3, you have Angel Uzziel and Smokey Quartz with Heavenly Mercy. I didn't read the numbers. Also, these 2 cards have number 444, and this one here has card number, or Master Crystal number 333. Okay, so I'm going to leave these here. Remember, this is just a feel-good reading. I say just like it's, you know, passing by type comment, but really feel-good is important for us if we're doing a lot of work or if we're focusing on a lot of other people or even just internally trying to work through something. We need breaks. This is like a timeout or a meditation type style release, and just let go and get into a state of how am I feeling? What do I need to hear that's just going to lift me up so I can get my energy back? All right, so these are your 3 piles. I'll leave you to it. The description down below will have the time stamps, and you can jump straight to your reading. Otherwise, I'll see you in your reading. Hello, hello, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. So you've chosen the one that's not the angel, and you've chosen Ascended Master, Babaji, and Diamond. So It Shall Be. So it's almost like melancholy feeling. Also, the song playing just before I started to do this pile right now is called, let's just switch now, but just before, second before that, it's called Feel Invisible. Not I Feel Invisible, but Feel Invisible. So it does make me think of feeling that, like this is very transparent too, or, you know, the diamonds are very clear, right? They're very transparent, I guess is the best way I can put it. Clarifying. So it's an interesting card to come through. Also, I really like Master Babaji. Really interesting character, kind of feels like the energy of this reading is going to talk to your soul for your soul's mission, I guess, let's say. It's almost like polishing that aspect of your soul as part of the diamond and doing it in your own individual way. How's that going to come out in the reading? I'm not too sure, but I felt like I needed to really say that. It's finding your own individualistic expression that's important to you now. You don't have to be every single facet of who you are right this second. There's something important that needs to be looked at that's like really beautiful, let's say. Really beautiful. And it's time to either put it to rest, release it, or accept it, depending on who you are. So interesting message coming through straight away. There is that melancholy feel about it. I feel like needing to take a deep breath and just feel. Alright, so grab this one. Card number 51. Before I just pull them all out, I do want to start with this one. So this is your mandala. Sorry about the lighting in here is pretty dull today because it's so dark outside. I do have a light on, but I need like studio lights or something like that. So I'm going to quickly read and just have a look at what the book says about card 51. It's really interesting because it's very turquoise, like or aqua teal, whatever you want to say, with this like pinkish hue. And in between it's like indigo. It's just very, something about it. There's a lot of blues coming through, right? A lot of bluish colors. Yeah, so the message here, the main message is abundant grace and precious opportunity. I'm going to read actually most of this. It says here, there is no need to hold on to the blessings that flow when you believe in the abundant grace because there is no fear that they will stop. Instead, there is a constant evolution and expansion, continual growth, and unlimited supply. This is also making me think of our energy, right? Even in science, energy can't be created, is it? Or destroyed. It just gets transformed, which is an interesting theory because it's got to have come from somewhere, right? However, this is really talking to not sitting in fear and not worrying about things not coming through or getting something like a windfall, right? And then being fearful that someone might take it from you. So it's like if you have it, you're fearful. If you do have it, you're fearful. It's understanding of where this is coming from. I think this is shining some kind of transparent light onto it so it can be seen very clearly. Okay, and it says here, it is a beautiful belief system that heals greed by answering the perception of lack that lies beneath it. Yet one needs to take care of this belief system doesn't generate complacency or lack of regard for value of opportunities given or the precious time allotted to us, for this unique life is ours. If you believe in reincarnation, you can acknowledge that your soul will never experience this exact lifetime again. There is so much you can choose to do with this life. What would you choose to do for yourself? Commit to your life with an awareness of the possibilities and the precious time you have been given. Do not squander precious hours on things that diminish the love in your heart, which is interesting because it really kind of plays with this so it shall be. Some things have finished, right? Or they have their time. It could be in like an old relationship or someone passing or something like that. And it's not to say, just move on from it. It's really like understand it. What was the benefits of it? What did you learn from it? And where do you want to go now? There's something to do with that. Part of your soul is giving you a clear path because there's like opportunities here, and so it shall be. What's done is done. Okay. It's not normally how I read these, but I wanted to do the mandala first because I just find it really interesting. Honestly, I will say it's also blurry on the card, so if it looks even blurry on the screen, that's just because it is such on the card. Okay. It's interesting that two of the piles, not this one, but two of the other two piles had angels because I had already picked the Angel Wisdom Tower and the Chibi angels. So it's just interesting. Okay. All right, let's take a look at these cards as well. So you've got infinite abundance, which is really interesting with this card. This was talking about worrying, and your feel good message is really coming through is don't worry, you know how to bring in enough for life. And it doesn't mean you're going to get like everything, right? You're not going to have maybe, I mean, potentially, but it's not saying everyone here listening and watching is going to be billionaires or something like that. But it's not about the amount. It's really about knowing that what will come will leave. It's kind of like, you know, when money comes in your bank account, it goes to bills. But that's how we live our lives, kind of thing, right? And if it's, we still have leftover for enjoyment, entertainment, that kind of thing, whatever we're drawn to, whatever's interesting to us, it's always there. And same with our soul. Our soul's always there. Our guides are always there. Everything that we need to be successful in this life isn't outside of ourselves. It's all within. So just remember that this infinite abundance is also an infinite amount of energy that we can transmute and transform. I want to say manipulate, but I mean it in the most positive sense of transforming and shaping with our own hands, rather than watching something transform, right? Like if we watch a caterpillar turn into chrysalis and a butterfly, that's watching it, but this is more participatory. We decide, getting our power back into our hands. Evolution, yeah. Okay, so we've got Kamiel. This is interesting, kind of touches on, it's also highlighting Mars, but this feels like a very softer imagery. You know, the transformation and evolution of the Earth was dramatic, right? It took many years, millions of years to go from, you know, a ball of ice, I guess it was, and then the moon and whatever else crashed into it. I don't know the exact thing, the exact timeline, but I know the moon or whatever kind of smashed into it, kind of drifted away, and then both the Earth and Moon's kind of energies were, or ground makeup was distributed between the two, and then it kind of got caught in our orbit, and it's kind of slowly shifted away over many years. It's just interesting. So it's quite a dramatic transformation to get life to start living under the water at first, and then, you know, crawling out. So it's just really interesting in that kind of part. But this evolution, God's strength, it's like we're all evolving as well as people, individuals. Also, plants are still evolving, even, you know, even in microbiology, like diseases and bacteria and stuff, they all evolve really quickly because they have shorter lives, right? So if you have like really quick lives, really short lives, you're going to evolve, and you can see it happening in real time in some, you know, if you do some kind of like research and studies. I don't know why I'm going deep down into that kind of way, but it really overall, in a big broad sense, is we're all changing. The Earth even changes and evolves. It takes longer. We as humans or even animals evolve and change, and it takes time. But even looking back at human life, say 1,000 years ago to here, even our societies and our cultures, and if we just pinhole one country or one township, has evolved and changed. So it's just knowing that certain things will be, and certain changes will also be. Like what changes is just part of nature and part of life. So that's interesting. That is an interesting one. I'm not sure where I need to like pick up too much on that, but that's an interesting one. But I do like that all this abundance is really coming through. Your situation will not stay the same forever. Some stuff will be, some stuff will need to shift and change. Like when we, you know, release energy or money, or like go for a run or something, you know, we're releasing energy, but we're always going to get that energy back, right? And how do we get that? Through food. So it's not like we hold on to, we don't just go start running and be like, I don't want to lose this energy that I'm not just burning off, but I'm turning into muscle. I'm just going to keep running. We don't just non-stop run, right? We can't do that. Have to let certain things go and know that we'll come back to this once we've recovered and looked after ourselves. So it's just letting the cycle of nature almost be. And that's how we can just kind of sit back and watch certain things happen. I would almost want to suggest, for whatever reason, even maybe if you're not interested in it, but just to watch. I think Quartz have like this video. I probably won't remember, but if you want to comment and down below, because I'm on the first reading. Honestly, these readings come in and go out. But there's Quartz have a timeline of the evolution of Earth, and like almost all of it is just like fire, 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 and then water comes, and then there's a huge ass freeze, and then fire again. But usually when I say fire, I mean like volcanic eruptions and stuff like that. So it's just really interesting. But it takes a whole lot of time. It takes a whole lot of time. Nothing is immediate or quick, especially when we're talking about celestial bodies. It takes a long time. Okay. Get your cards. But I think it just puts things into perspective. It puts life into perspective. We get very bogged down with things like, oh no, am I going to lose this? Or this might happen, so I need to hold on to this particular item or something because it means everything. You know, you do you, but I feel like this reading in particular is just letting some stuff be what it is. Let people be who they are. Not that I don't feel like you're trying to change them, but it really feels like you're wanting to help them. And sometimes people need to help themselves, which is tough. But if it's causing you pain and discomfort and it's not leading to where you feel it should, then there might be another way of looking at things. People have to evolve in their own time. Sometimes stuff doesn't evolve too much, right? Like sharks in the water, they have evolved a lot. But looking, like visually, doesn't look like they have really changed a lot. I do want to grab one of these now, actually. It's gonna wait. And they haven't left the water. They didn't need to. Some stuff has left and gone back in and is super successful, like mammals. So it's really... Every animal, everything has its own path and choice, let's say, of adapting to the environment. Okay. I'm going to put that one up last. So you've got the Five of Cups, the Strength card, the Seven of Wands. Yeah, interesting. You also have the Knight of Cups. You have the Renewal card. You have the World card. And you have the Balance card. Interesting with these three mages coming through at the bottom too. This is traditionally Judgment, World's World, and Balance is Temperance. If I remember that rightly. Okay, what are they trying to say? There was like a story up here and I've kind of forgotten it. The Five of Cups is really about where you're putting energy, just paying attention to where your energy is going. You can see here, it's moving in a direction, but it might be moving in somewhere that is just like a drain. It's kind of like when you buy a house, it turns into a money pit. This is your house. This is your money. It kind of like, that's the best analogy I can kind of think with it. And anyone that has a house will know that that can be quite true. Hopefully not for everybody, but it's not really a money pit. It is actually an investment, but it can kind of feel like, you know, everyone's told like you have to have a house and own a house and blah, 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 blah. But then when you do have one, where you do get to that point, sometimes it's like, was this even worth it? Renting had these kind of options. This I was told was the right path, but was it? Now that I'm in it, was it? It's okay to question those types of things, right? So this is about where you're putting your energy, and maybe you're worried, you're putting a lot of concern or worry about protection, right? Putting up fences, putting in security cameras, all this kind of stuff. I feel like those houses generally get targeted for some reason. They have, because they just, attract the worry and the fear, and all that stuff just kind of draws this energy in. I think it's absolutely fine to put in fences and all that kind of stuff if you feel that that's going to help you feel safe and comforted. But there's a difference between the intention being like, I'm going to do this out of reaction of fear because I worry about things in the world, or because this helps me feel comfortable, right? It's like getting a nice blanket. You don't get the blanket because you fear the cold, or maybe you do, but you get a blanket because it feels cozy and warm, and you get the one that feels right for you, like the weighted blanket or the, I don't know, fluffiest blanket, whatever, the softest. But understanding this, I feel, for your feel-good reading is really coming through. It gives you strength and confidence in who you are and where you're going, and knowing where to put your energy into. So if this is really talking about people and relationships, it's really about, where am I putting my energy that I need to shift into another direction? Or is this, even questioning it is okay, because maybe you find like, yes, I am putting my energy into the right place. Ask yourself why is an important thing. Why am I doing this? Why is this important to me at this moment? If it changes, that's okay. We're all changing and evolving. And then you've got the renewal balance down here. It absolutely is a balancing act, right? There's no right or wrong or perfect or anything way. You have 1 foot on land, 1 foot in the ethereal, I want to say, or 1 foot in the material world, 1 foot in the emotional world, or in the mental world, the ideal world, idealistic, I mean, world. And so there's no like right or wrong answer here. It's all going back to it shall be. Sometimes certain people go this way. Sometimes, you know, focus on where you're headed in your direction and what kind of energy you want to radiate from yourself, because that's really what's important here. You don't want to be wasting it or letting it drain into something that's not coming into fruition for you. It's not helpful for you. I think if people really have focused on a relationship or wanting a relationship, and someone's like kind of like on and off with them, or just like it's iffy the whole time and it's been years and years and years and years, then it's kind of showing you that this isn't it's not going to give you the abundance that you're looking for. It's not going to give you what you want. It's almost turned into like, well, now I've spent so much time focusing on this, I just have to make it work, right? It's almost like when I've watched some cult TV shows, and it's like, well, we've already gone so far, we've crossed so many lines, and I've ignored so many red flags, I just have to stick with it now. And you can see them kind of crumbling inside about it, but they have to just keep going. And it's like, you don't have to. You can always turn things around and stop stressing or worrying or focusing in this direction. Just give yourself some space to really see what needs the evolution card to kind of shift and change. What gives you strength, and what do you need to say or speak up to and be honest with yourself about? So I think that puts you into your heart space, helps you move forward quickly and into a direction that's like loving to you. Okay. Got Discover, Spot New Opportunities. That was kind of coming through with this card as well, and I kind of glossed over it. But it really is. It really is. If we're focused heavily on one area, you know that, what is that thing? There's that TV, what is it? You watch this and it's like someone's jumping on a trampoline, and it's like, count how many times they jump in this video, and they watch it, and then a gorilla walks past, but we don't see it because we're like watching this trampoline. Like sometimes when we're so heavily focused on one thing, we miss all the other things that are happening. And it's like, kind of like, what's that gorilla doing? Where'd that come from? I remember watching that on a Mind show, and then I was like, I noticed it because I'd played this before, so I watched and I counted correctly because I was watching it. But then during the episode, the gorilla was popping up in different areas, and I was focusing on the person, not what was happening around. So it still caught me out, which I really enjoyed, because I was like, you got me, you know what I mean? It's funny, it's kind of fun. And then they played back the clips, and I was like, it's so obvious. Sometimes it was really small, and I was like, well, may not have been able to see that, but it still was movement that wasn't in the foreground where I was looking. So it was just interesting. Also, it's probably on my phone, let's be real. But sometimes it's just interesting to stop, smell the roses. I feel, as part of this as well, because then we get to see, oh yeah, like I went outside recently just to like sit in the sun, get some rays, because it's been cloudy and rainy for almost like a month, which is really rare for Brisbane, but it's on and off, and sometimes there's sun. And I went outside and I saw like this weird little creature, and I was like, what is that? And I just started paying attention to what was around me, and I saw butterflies and this huge moth just sitting on the roof of like where we've got like undercover. And I was like, I wouldn't have noticed that. The caterpillar was huge. It was a hawk moth caterpillar, which I was like, okay, I didn't know, hadn't seen them ever before, and haven't seen one since. And you know, there was there was some blue butterflies mating, which is not that exciting, but it was just, you know, all sorts of different things. And I just started looking around, and I looked at a leaf, and there was like this big cricket on there, or grasshopper. They're huge in Australia. They fly too. In New Zealand, they're this big. They do not fly. Australia, yeah, this big fly. And I was like, well, this is wild anyway. But, you know, I saw all this stuff, and I was like, that's really interesting, because I don't really focus or think about it. I don't really stop and just look at what's happening. Look at the leaves, the shape of the leaves, you know. That's how I feel some people have kind of discovered new things, as they've just stopped and thought, well, how does this work? How does this tree work? How does this plant and animal work? Or how does the days work? You know, all that kind of stuff back in the day. And so I think getting into that mindset helps you spot and see different perspectives and ways of viewing the world. I don't know if this is necessarily like a feel good reading, but I feel like it is a good way of just connecting and being. Can't change everything. Some things will just be. Just know that change, though, is always a constant, no matter what. You might look back and see people as never changing. It's always been the same way. But in some ways, they probably have changed. Maybe it's some people move quickly, shift fast, and some people shift slowly. And that's just maybe their path. And we have to focus on our path and help the people that want to maybe shift along with us, right? But without telling them what to do, just being like, here's some space. I hold some space for you to be able to be you. And I hope you're able to hold space for yourself to be yourself, and surround yourself with people that also have that same goal, or at least similar goals. Not all the same. That's true success. I like this. It says, brilliant success, a time of joyful accomplishment and spiritual enlightenment. And I feel like you're already going through that path. It's an interesting one. There is still like a melancholy aspect on here. The song playing at the end of your reading is called Lost. So it's just like, you know, we can only do as much as we can do. We can't do everything, and nor should we be expected to do everything. It's time to just let yourself be as well. And that's really what I see. But look, this infinite abundance, there's always enough. There's always enough. Always. Always, always enough. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, pile number 1. Interesting feel-good reading. I hope it really helped. I think it was like almost like a deep cleanse or clean, or just like a deep cleanse. I feel like a deep cleanse, kind of like, instead of just the surface level, which I thought maybe this, you know, feel good would be, it's more almost like a deep kind of like dive and cleanse down there. Anyway, thank you for letting me read for you. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading, pile number 2. So, interesting one you've picked here. You've picked the angel Lahabiel and Black Tourmaline. The information I found on Lahabiel was interesting. There's two kind of sides to this. There's one where it's an assistant of Archangel Uzziel for healing, which may make sense with the purification. And on the other side, which also makes sense with the purification, is being a fallen angel and working their way back up. So you could call that like a redemption story, right? Someone who almost like going to prison for doing something bad or wrong or seen as toxic or negative or illegal at minimum, right? And then going through that system and coming out and being able to better themselves. not saying what they did before was cleansed or justified, let's say, but choosing to better themselves. And I feel like this is where this purification is, holding on to a lot of stuff and needing to release it or let go. It's almost like you are the Black Tourmaline. You're the drawer of some toxic energy, and you've kept it with you for so long. I know this is a feel-good reading, but this is just how it's coming through, and almost feeling like the stuff that you have collected and accumulated is your story, when it doesn't have to be. It can be part of your story, but it doesn't have to define your whole life path, forward and past and now. All right, so interesting one. I felt like very deep when that came out. I was like, wow, this is a feel-good reading. And I looked at all the 3 piles and I was like, this is going to be an interesting feel-good reading. But it really is about, this is all open and possible for us to cleanse and let go of many, many different things. The last pile was, so it shall be. And this one is purification. There is some kind of similarities in the piles. And I think the last one was purifying, or very much, or something. I can't remember now, actually. No, heavenly mercy, which does feel like, what this angel may have gone through, if we kind of picture the story of a fallen angel wanting to move back into the light and having to work for it, finding ways to have some kind of redemption path, a path of redemption. Which kind of feels like a movie, right? Some kind of movies. There's probably many movies of people who have done wrong and started to learn how to shift and change. And if we only saw what they did and then we saw them like many years later, we would still see that same imagery, but we have no idea about their story. So I don't know. I don't even know Lahabiel's story, right? If they are an actual angel. But it's not really for me to judge. It's for them to show who they are now. And I think that's part of your reading. Okie dokie. So I'll grab some Oracle cards first. Okay, this one, 21, nice and bright. I'll grab this one. I kind of want to say nothing is beyond redemption, let's say. Our judgment of selves is our biggest judger. That's not the right word, but we are the biggest critic. Let's just say that, for sure. All right, I want to start with this one. So number 21, beautiful spiral here. All the colors. I don't think I've pulled this card before. I've had this deck for a while, but I haven't seen this one. Look at that. We're all made of different colors. We might be focusing more on a purple ray for now, but we're made up of so much more than what sometimes we think and feel. 21. I don't know why I keep forgetting the number. All right. But yeah, really beautiful card. The message here is magic and her method. I want to read this one because it just does feel like we're all made of many different things, and we are the creator and shifter of our lives. We're able to really change things within ourselves, especially. We can't change other people, right? We can influence, but they decide whether they change, and same with us. We decide what we hold on to and what we release. All right, it says here, the sacred feminine, the goddess, is a supreme creatrix capable of beautifully timed manifestations according to higher workings of wisdom and generous, good-natured genius. As she works in spirals rather than linearity, there can be moments in our creative manifestation process where we might feel further than ever from what we are seeking. That's a really interesting one, and I'm sure everyone, including myself, can understand that. It's like, why did I go on this path to learn this, but I'm over here now? I can see how some of that made sense, but it's like, that was such a wacky way of getting here. Surely there could have been a better way. Who knows? Maybe there was, but you know, we're humans. We're like, eh. So anyway, I can see that with myself. So that's a really good point. Yet in a short time, we will find ourselves in the right place. I don't know about short. At the right moment and seemingly out of nowhere, things fall into place. Do not give in to the voices of doom and gloom that say it should have been now, should have happened by now. So it won't happen at all. That's definitely some of the dark kind of like, you know, I guess we call it ego, right? But it's kind of like fear-based. It is part of us that says those things. Fortunately, the marvelous methods of the goddess cannot be constrained by the ominous predictions of humankind. Trust in her wild ways. I kind of like that. Sometimes we get to the point, but through weird and wacky ways. And sometimes it's because we just need to let go of certain things or release certain things or not be told who we are and live who we are. But also we don't need anyone's permission to be who we are either, right? I don't need to be like, I believe in this, so I'm going to tell everyone, which is fine, right? You can tell people, whoever you want. But if some people are saying you're wrong, you don't have to take that on. But you also don't have to fight them. It's how's fighting and proving your point really going to help? If you feel very strongly about what you believe in this moment and you're still open to others' opinions, right? Because the change is always going to be. Nothing stays the same forever. So it's just an interesting kind of look at that. You also have wisdom. Yep, for sure. Gabriel coming through. This has got the West and the Moon. Wisdom, we live and learn through our challenges. If we didn't go through any challenges, we didn't have the dichotomy of like a really low and a high, we wouldn't appreciate sometimes even the middle ground or the really highs if it was just always constant. And this goddess is not constant. She's not linear. She is, you know, spiral, as it says. She's like going around many different kind of avenues to get to where she needs to be. So it's an interesting one, but you learn and grow from that. So while we can say that doesn't make sense to go this way to get to here, sometimes we have to trust the process. Conscious creator, really interesting, right next to the goddess. This is really showing you do create your reality. You want to have a happier, healthier, fun, more enjoyable existence. It's all within you. It's not to be taken from outside of you. You can work your magic on the outside, of course, but it starts with understanding that you are the magic. You are the magic. And look, there's more spirals here. So this is divine feminine energy, the real creator energy. And even the song playing right now, because songs today have been like popping and been really interesting timing, let's just say that. Like divine planned kind of like songs coming in. But it's called Closer. So it's like you're actually closer than you think to the things you want. You're actually closer than you think to being able to release the stuff within you, because it's within you. It's not actually this journey of the working on the outside has led you back to you to be the creator, the changer, the shifter, the releaser, whatever you need to do in this moment that feels right for you. I'm going to flip that one probably at the end. As I say that, I feel like I want to do it now. Okay, fine. Yeah, reevaluate. In the starlit sky, we still look for falling stars. It's how we perceive things. This reevaluate, I probably want to put it down here actually. Conscious creator and this beautiful imagery here. This is reminding me of seeing the cup half empty or half full. It's like, see how you don't have to change your mind. If you want to see it as half full, see it as half full. You want to see it as half empty, see it as half empty. But look from all angles. Have a look at other people's eyes, at how they perceive it. Some people might look at it and just not care. they'll just drink it. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's an interesting take. Why am I even thinking about a cup being half empty or half full? Maybe it just is what it is and I need to just move on from that. So it's interesting. But the reevaluating is, it's okay to reconnect with how you may have been taught in the past about your religious studies or belief system, or what makes happiness in the world. Is it going on a path of more money? Is it a path of more help and healing others? Is it a mixture? Is it, you know, whatever? It's a lot of, like, reevaluating is really reevaluating. Okay. I feel like the messenger of this reading today is like kind of spicy. So maybe you have some spicy guides too. But they're not spicy as in sassy necessarily, always sassy, but to the point of trying to annoy you. They just really have like a really clear message of all this is within you. All this change you want to see, it all comes from you. And I love that it's called Conscious Creator, because it's really about thinking. And focusing where you're putting your energy, not just like, I want this and then leaving it. It's really about, why do I want this? What does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? You know, that kind of thing. Like if you're wanting to manifest a new car or something like that, or your car now, protecting it so it doesn't break down all the time, and just knowing that it's not going to break down because you have put protection and guards up to assist with that. Or, you know, whatever works, however you work with your own practices, right? That was just an example. Okay, so let's take a look at the tarot. Let's start with these ones. Got the Three of Wands. I like this being your first card from the tarot. It's like, where do I go from here? What am I looking at? But because you're starting to look at things from a higher perspective. What do I, like, almost stepping out of yourself, turning around, having a look, and it's like, what am I focusing on? Why am I focusing on that? What do I need cleansed out of my life? What do I need shifted? What kind of mindset of lack or anything that I don't want to hold on to anymore? What do I do with that? Because that's where she's on a higher ground, so she can see which wave is coming in or what's happening with the water, because maybe she feels into the water. Maybe she just knows where the energy is going, like the turbulence or flow of the water flow is going, so she knows which wave or which time will be the best time to catch a wave. Or maybe she's just looking at awe of the ocean, right? There's so many different ways of looking at maybe what she's looking at. We can assume Three of Wands wise, traditional tarot, it's like seeing the ship and knowing that this is coming into port and knowing when to go meet it and, you know, work and do whatever. But that might be just one very particular perception of the Three of Wands. She might be just there enjoying the warmth and just being grateful for being on Earth and able to surf, right? We have no idea, but that's the whole point. See things from many eyes. Got the World, that's how you see success. But I do feel like you've also cleansed a lot of stuff that you've been through too. This purification you may have picked is just a reminder of like the good work you've done. You've got this woman a lot. Like you can see her belly is full, but it's the whole world within her. Here, she's kind of, I guess down here, she still kind of looks pregnant as well. And she's got the whole universe within her. And this was talking about the divine feminine energy. You're getting that very, very, very clearly as knowing your value and your worth. You don't have to prove it to anyone, but you have to believe it within yourself. So what do you do from here? This gives you lots of opportunities. Where do I put my energy? What have I been putting my energy into? How can I look at things from many different perspectives? This is very much about reevaluating. got the King of Pentacles. Really nice. You'll always have what you need. This does talk about accomplish, being able to do small things. Sometimes that might be for some people waking up and greeting the day and, you know, smiling or something like that. Or it could even be just like, for some people, when they're at their lowest, let's say, just getting up, going for a shower and going back to bed might be the accomplishment. See it as the accomplishment. You know, and then on your best days, being able to do 5 things that you really wanted to do. And you only really meant to do 3, but you got more stuff done. You know, that can feel really accomplished too. It depends on where you're at different times, because we're always in different energies, let's say, mental mind states, all that kind of stuff at different moments. And it's not about how much we get done, even it's how much we get done with the way we're feeling and how we're moving, and how can we lift our moods out of this, because this feel good reading is definitely got that purification energy in it, but also a reminder of how powerful you are. And I feel like with that, abundance keeps coming through. And I love that it's got compassion. It still shows that supportive energy, which really is the King of Pentacles. You have the Ace of Cups, really pretty Ace of Cups with this little baby dolphin and this young mermaid. It says, a beautiful new emotional experience, a romantic relationship or deep friendship. This is the start. This is the idea. I feel like you are here to manifest something. If you're manifesting like a partner or just like self-worth and happiness into your life, whatever it is, think about how it feels. What does it smell like? Partner, maybe not, but you know, whatever. You know, that kind of thing. Well, why not actually go into details, go very specific and be there. And obviously, if you're looking for a partner, make sure they're single too, you know, that kind of thing. You don't want to manifest perfect person, they're taken. Like, damn it. You know, back to the drawing board. But, you know, all that kind of stuff. And even if it's within yourself, you already have it within you. But sometimes it's nice to even manifest that you feel it and see it. And then you can picture or imagine it as being true and real. And I feel like sometimes feeling it is a good way, but that's just me. And this is a great card to end your reading on. You have stand up for yourself and your beliefs. Have confidence. This is absolutely true. This is not about fighting. I know the traditional one is about kind of like standing up on the higher ground and defending yourself. But I feel like this is standing up on a pedestal, speaking your truth, saying what you need to, and, you know, listening to other people's opinions, of course, but not having to buy into it. Even if it's someone who's famous or has like a huge following, right? That doesn't mean that what they have to share is exactly what you need to take along with you. They may have 2% of what they say is important and the rest isn't. Take that 2% and, you know, find your own truth, find your own value and path, because that's what this is all about. But coming back to the very first card, purification, I feel like this may have been something you've already gone through or still working on. It's like taking other people's stories or information or projections about themselves onto you. So they may have said bad things or not nice things to you, and you've taken it as truth. You decide what your truth is. You're the divine feminine energy. At the moment, this is coming through with regardless of gender. You're the divine feminine, and you know it's she's there to be honored, or not really be honored like worshipped. It's not like that. It's just honor your own creative power, because you're a creative force, and if you're focusing on lack, you're going to keep bringing in that. So maybe start to think and shift onto what's more important to me in this moment. Just because it was in the past doesn't mean it has to be now, and that's okay. There's a lot here, I know, for the feel-good reading, but really it's the feel-good aspect is knowing your divine worth and your creative power, because you are powerful, you are intelligent and strong, and anything that blocks you or holds you down can be released and removed in time. You know, you control that. You have, I believe you have full, complete power over that. All right, I'm going to leave that there. hopefully this has helped, this feel-good reading. It's probably a little bit deeper than I thought it was going to be when I first was like, okay, let's do a feel-good reading. However, this is how the cards fell. I saw each pile and I thought, okay, each pile is going to be kind of deep. And this is probably touched on many different things that may be true in your life. So, celebrate your successes, celebrate your wins. Both cards right. And always be in touch and true with how you feel, because I feel like then you're always standing in your power. Okay, thank you very much for letting me read for you, pile number 2. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, hello, welcome to your reading, pile number 3. So you've chosen a very, very, very interesting one. There's 2 angels to pick from, right? Angel Uzziel has 2 kind of interesting messages online. The one that kind of is consistent is talking to the strength of God, which is interesting because there's a lot of angels that seem to be the strength, right? Strength, what's strength? But the interesting part with the strength feels like the strength of being able to forgive, I feel, is coming through. There is this like, it's not forgiveness and that's it, but it does feel like having mercy or having some kind of like compassion for maybe even something or someone that has done what we would perceive in this reality as like the worst thing you could do, right? Being able to support and help them out of that judgment or prediction is like where this mercy is coming through. So it's like very deep, and that's probably why it's heavenly mercy. Smokey Quartz is always good. I feel like, from my understanding, Smokey Quartz is to help alleviate stress, fear, a lot of fear. And that, because fear and stress and worry really does cloud our judgment of everything, because we can see it as like, this is our reality and no one can change it. And then we almost want to hold on to that like it's, if someone's like, oh, I can help you with this, like, no, no one can help me kind of thing. And then they just stay stuck there. And it's like, well, you know, don't have to stay stuck there. But being compassionate for these people, no matter what, is always a higher vibe to sit in. Okay, so that is where that was coming through. This is a feel-good reading, by the way, but I will say from the other piles, since I've already read them, this is also a very deep message, like a deep cleanse kind of message. This heavenly mercy almost might even feel like not feeling worthy of something, which is where the lack and the worry and the fear is coming from. So I hope we can touch light on that to, you know, help you help yourself, really. Because at the end of the day, no matter what, it's always up to us to decide to walk through the door. You know, leading a horse to water but can't make it drink. We decide whether we walk through that door, take that drink. In the end, we can be led to it. We might be thirsty, but if we have some kind of pride or anything really that stops us, that's what we choose. We have a decision to go along with that pride or go along with what we feel is right for us and everyone involved. It's always a choice. Okay. Number 9. Okay, interesting. Half of 18. So you have number 9 coming through from the mandalas. Here is your mandala. Wow, it's really interesting. It looks like lace, like a lace sphere with this green looking thing. It's reminding me of a logo, which I don't really like, but anyway, this green in the inside, really, really pretty. It just looks like heart healing. Also, another thing with this angel that I found that was kind of consistent was secrets. So working with high energy, but also, you know, holding, like, kind of like Uzziel. It doesn't hold secrets and hides them, but it's just like uncovering. It's like a secret uncovering, which some people want the secret of, like, how can I make more money? And that might be fine, right? But this is like, how can I live better in this life? How can I feel freer in this life? So I'm going to have a read of this one as well. I do want to grab your other oracle cards. Yeah, these got a good shuffle. Okay. Nice. Okay. So this was number 9. Commit to closure. That's interesting. Let me read this because I have an interesting idea of committing to closure. I get the benefits of closure. Sometimes we don't always get it. And our real closure is us deciding how to let go of it. And maybe that's where this is coming from, but I'm kind of interested to see what the book says. So I'm going to read the book as is. It says here, the promise of the new can be enticing. The intoxicating blend of hope, inspiration, and optimism can seem irresistible. There are many beautiful ideas and dreams to conjure, yet limited to bring them all to life. A vivid imagination opens, I think it's supposed to say, opens to possibility, can keep us youthful and vital. However, the same questing nature can distract us from fulfilling our purpose when driven by fear, boredom, or lack of commitment. Sometimes the thrill of the new needs to be placed aside so that the joyful fulfillment of heartfelt ideas can come to life. There are many beautiful adventures on your spiritual horizon, but you can only approach them by taking the journey, step by step, in the here and now. Earn your next creative leap by attending to what needs to be done. Interesting. It's kind of an interesting one, right? It's kind of like finish what you started. That's kind of how it's saying. This is an interesting one because now I'm getting like a message of like this heavenly mercy is almost like wanting to go back home. Wanting to go back to source, wanting to get out of here. But this is kind of saying you came here for a purpose, finish what you have started, and then you'll go back, right? If you don't finish it, then you're going to repeat it. That's kind of how it says, well, this is an interesting feel-good reading. Look, I can only say what comes through. Okay, interesting message. Vulnerability is power. Wow. I don't think I pulled this card. This little blue being is really, really standing out. It's kind of highlighting the throat too. This kind of feels like an empowerment energy, but also what was restricting to your voice is now your greatest power. Does it make sense? Like if you had a partner who was like only, oh, I hate saying this, but like you only talk when you're spoken to or something like that. Oof, that sounds horrible. But anyway, you know, that kind of thing turns into your greatest strength because you've been through that and you will not be going back there, right? That kind of thing. So that's where the vulnerability is, your power is coming through. It's like speaking your truth, being truthful with yourself about many things. What do you really want out of this life? That's kind of coming through. Okay. Gabriel again. Okay, this came out in pile 2, so you may be drawn to that. That's the other angel. But Gabriel coming through with wisdom. I feel like Gabe's just coming through again and again. Also, again, God is my strength. I feel like that's on everybody's archangel thing. It's like, what does this mean? God is my strength. What about this angel? God is my strength. Because the last angel also had that kind of that energy of God is my strength. So it's just interesting. But this one's talking to wisdom and has the moon here, so it does touch on honor your sacred. What is this? Emotions. Your emotions are coming through here. They're telling you something important. They're not trying to get you into fear or worry. That's our decision or choice to go, oh, this is fear. It's really just wanting you to tap back into your infinite wisdom, infinite knowledge. This has been a wild reading today of what I intended to be feel-good readings, which I do feel like it is helping. I mean, helping us help ourselves really is a feel-good message, right? But it's just an interesting way of doing it. So anyway, let's take a look at your tarot cards. So I want to get more deets. More details, please. I do like that vulnerability is power. It's just a strong message. When we can be honest and truthful with ourselves and others, there's nothing, we don't hold any secrets, right? We're not hiding anything. Everything's out in the open. So no one can say or do anything really, because it's like, yeah, that's true. It's kind of like you don't see, I mean, it's probably a different world now, but you don't see people going to somewhere going, haha, you're blah, blah, blah. And because you're hiding it inside you, you're like, and then get annoyed or whatever about it. But once you come out and like speak your truth about it, when people are like, haha, you're this or that, you're like, yeah, I am. You know, loses its power, right? You claim the power instead of letting the power impact you. You claim it back. Okay, interesting. What a wild reading. So let's have a look at your tarot cards. I'm going to start down the bottom today. So we've got the Page of Cups, the Three of Cups, and the Balance card. You really are here to enjoy life with these three cards. You are here to feel emotions and understand what they mean. I feel like part of your journey with all this, there's wisdom and your emotions. Especially if you're, well, I mean, like whoever you are, you might have been told, you know, to block emotions or hold back on certain things or not be emotional, or told not to be so, what is it, volatile or whatever. Oh, I don't know what you've been through, but I feel like certain people were a pain in the ass. But this is really talking to, you know, you're actually here to express them and be open and honest with them outwardly, even if it might seem kooky. You'll find the kooky people that you're supposed to be with. You're not trying to fit in with the sheep, right? Screw the sheep. I'm not really screw them, but let them do their thing. They're allowed to do that as well. That's their choice. They're allowed to follow a more herd-like mentality, I guess. I'm trying to say it in a way that's non-judgmental. So I'm just saying you're not meant to be with the crowd, with everybody else. You're meant to kind of do your own thing on the fringe and, like, you know, dip and weave into the kind of like the gray, I guess, is the best way I can put it. Overall, you're really here to have fun. The Balance card is the Temperance card. It's all about balance. It really is about balance. And I like this one because he's making a rainbow at the top, and it just feels like, you know, happiness or just like awe of something natural that's beautiful. You know, when you're driving in a car, I don't think you could look out the window and see a rainbow and feel angry, right, about it. It's like, damn that rainbow. You know what I mean? No one's doing that. It sometimes just keeps us in, or gets us out of this mentality of like, we came down here and we have to do this, that, or the other, and we're just trucking along. This kind of pulls us out into, wow, we actually are in kind of like a beautiful place, or there are beautiful things in our life too. So I feel like that's really nice. I will say you're not here to be punished as well. That wants to really just quickly get snapped in there. You're not here to be hurt or punished. Two of Wands. I like that. Got the Three of Cups again. Yeah, you really are meant to find your crowd, right? Even here, these three people. This is news worth celebrating. Joyful announcements like an engagement, wedding, pregnancy, or graduation. So it's like enjoying the good times. I do like this, where they're partying it forward, and these three are just enjoying each other's company. But also, it feels like they're enjoying themselves separately too. So it's kind of like, I don't know why, but it feels like a almost like a coven or like a group of witches, right? It doesn't mean you have to do any of that stuff. It just reminds me of that kind of like kinship with certain people, but also doing your own thing, being your own individual person. Like, the only way I'm getting that is the different hair colors, which of course is like whatever, but it's just interesting. They're still their own people while also being part of a group. Got to the King of Swords. The Nine of Wands. Well, we already knew that you'd kind of been through something challenging to get to here. to get to this point in life, but you're not being punished. I just want to keep saying that. It feels like it needs to be said. You're not here to, this is like, Earth isn't really a punishment. It was an elected idea. Like, you can see the globe here and this person looking out, and it's like maybe wherever they were wasn't giving them what they needed, the lessons of the growth, and so you came here and you're like, well, that was the choice, wasn't it? But you're meant to find, your path at the moment is really touching into finding kinship. The Five of Cups. Not seeing the secrets, I feel. Like you know how the traditional is watching the three fall over and being upset or disappointed in that. And that's fair, that's true. But there's always hidden opportunities, and I feel like this is all about hidden opportunities. You've learnt so many things though with this one. You've learnt, you know, when the messages come through, your own wisdom with this owl, and trusting your intuition and finding the balance between that, because it's all about balance. Don't get into spirituality and just like stick with that, and like one particular way of being spiritual is the only way, right? It's not really about that. One way of being human, or even yourself, is the only way to be human. Everyone's doing things differently. Every single human is doing things sometimes slightly differently, sometimes wackily differently. And you're here to really understand what is your calling, what is your truth, what is your truth? Because I feel like the king is all about truth. It's got many different messages, many different ideas coming at him. Maybe even many different guides have different ideas of what to do, but what do you feel is right for you? Definitely has been a path. I feel like the feel-good aspect of this reading is you're not being judged, you're not being punished by anything. You're really here to find what you're looking for, and if that's love, that's love. If it's kinship with people, it's that. If it's to balance emotions, it's that. But you're really intelligent. Like this wisdom card and this intelligence guy here, the king, it's a really smart person. That doesn't always equate to happiness or anything like that, but what do I do with my strengths? How do I work my strengths to create what I want to see in the world? That's really what's important. Where am I putting my energy that's just draining, that I just no longer need to do that? You know, even if you've got like a PhD in, I don't know, being a surgeon or something like that, you might think, now I have to be a surgeon. No, you can go be an astrologer or something. Like, if you're called to it, right? Just because you've studied something for many years, you haven't wasted it. You've learned a whole lot of stuff, and maybe that'll help with the healing in your astrology path. Who knows? That's just an example, right? But it's never gained through holding back. It's gained through truth and honesty with self and the people around you. So that is a very interesting feel-good reading. This reading has been really interesting, along with all the whole, when I say this reading, I mean all the piles have been just completely different to what I felt like where they were going to go. I thought this was going to be a lovey-dovey kind of reading, but then we picked a whole bunch of angels and they seemed to be poking us, and then two of them came out in the Pickacard, and I was like, oh, here we go. So look, what is. I hope that this has helped you in some way. There's a lot of messages here in different ways, but really I want to pull back to honoring your emotions, your intelligence, your emotional intelligence, and finding the people that really connect with you. And maybe it's like, I talk to these people because I connect with them on a spiritual level. I talk to these people because I connect with them on like a monetary level, or a design level, or an artistic level. That's okay. They don't have to be everything. You just pick and choose and find, have conversations and dip and weave out of like anything. Or maybe you do have close-knit people. It's up to you. This isn't a reading that's telling you what to do. This is just reminding me of what reminding you of what you're capable of. Okay, anyway, thank you for letting me read for you. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading.